Good morning, all. CamelbackTrading.org coming to you this Thursday morning, November 17th. We are looking at Window Trader's market profile of the ES and SPY. And if you are a bull, this is not something you wanted to see. As remember, we had an inside day yesterday. We traded inside of the 15th range the entire day, even though it was the lower end of the range. Remember, we didn't have a double distribution day on the 15th, but we said the line in the sand was where change attempted to take place. So look at these last gasps by buyers here. Late in the day on the 15th, yesterday's pre-market, trying to stay above 4,000. Failed, never saw it yesterday, and now we're coming out of an inside day and out of balance, which is the 11th low, to the downside on a gap, on a decent-sized gap right now. As you can see, the gap right now is about $3. We are pre-market with 75 minutes to go inside the lower distribution from November 10th. Remember, we still have that huge gap below us. So again, it's one thing to come into balance on the daily. We are coming out of balance now to the downside and an inside day. So you go with it and monitor it for continuation or lack of. Now you also know I am not a gap and go guy when the gap starts getting huge. This gap's starting to get very large. Okay, now there is a lot of room to move down on the 10th. You didn't have anything down to 04, which 0450 around there, which is the afternoon pullback low. Then you have the buy tail and then the large gap. So sellers trying to get their mojo on and push this a lot lower. So the other thing is Triple Q's doing the same thing, as you can see. So here's Triple Q's. Remember, Triple Q's just came into balance yesterday. So again, did you use a 3-day balance or a 4-day balance? If it's a 3-day balance, well, you're down. If it's a 4-day balance, you're getting close to the bottom of it. Okay? So that's, again, something you have to determine if you're trading NQ and Triple Q. IWM also came out of balance yesterday to the downside. So they're firmly down. Now they're testing the 10th low, possibly going to get into their gap from that day. So buyers are giving up a lot here. Okay? As you can see, we just continually push to new lows here with 75 minutes to go. The overnight high in SPY was 396.80. The overnight low was 391.48, but we're continually making new lows. So what's the game plan? So let's make this a little smaller so you can see what's going on here in both ES and SPY. Now, do I want to take a short just yet with a gap of this magnitude? Probably not, okay? You can get, the overnight is short. You can get an inventory adjustment. Will I be looking for shorts? Absolutely. Where can you start looking for shorts? Well, first place you can look now is K's high from the 10th. That's the upper end of the lower distribution. So we'll see if that holds. Again, you're going to have stops in, because if you get above that, then you have to see what happens in the upper distribution from that day. But the higher you go, the more I would take a short with the lower value and the gap. The game ends for the sell side if the gap fills from today. Okay, plain and simple, the game would end. We were 12 wide yesterday. If this gap were to fail and we get acceptance back inside the yesterday's range, you're going to get back to that 12 wide POC. Am I expecting that right now? I am not. But it's just definitely something to keep in mind. So I want a better risk reward on my short. Am I looking for a long here at all? Right now, absolutely not. You want to take a long against G's low and take 5 points worth of heat to see if we at least bounce off of 3,900 the first time? I don't have a problem with that. That's still over $2.50 away. Okay? You will know if there's a buy somewhere during this day, if they attempt to stop one-time framing down, if we do that, if things of that nature. Wait for two-sided trade for a long. By that I mean at least 3 wide. The only responsive buy I would take the first time would be against the 3,900 level, so around G's low from that day. And again, if we were to get maybe to the 10th low prior to getting to the gap. I don't think this gap will get filled the first time. However, if the sellers do have good momentum, good tempo and volume, that would increase the odds of them being filled the first time. Remember, where these things were things to lean on the day of the 10th, they now become targets for these heat-seeking missiles. Keep that in mind. Now, let's just go to the chart. I was going to show you the weekly and the daily. The monthly's okay right now, right? It's still balanced. And so is the weekly. Last week's low is 373.61. Okay? We're still $18 above that. The weekly is still up as far as I'm concerned. Okay? So for now, the weekly is still up. So we'll see how we close tomorrow. But right now, the weekly is up. Now, the daily, though, is the thing we've been talking about. We're coming out of a 4-day balance to the downside. We're going to try to take back. Remember, look how much work we did to try to take back September 13th. Well, guess what? We took it all back except for one thing. And what was that one thing? The daily high, right? And getting into the gap. So now look at it on the reverse side. There's a lot to take back from this day. The trend day, the afternoon pullback, and then that day's low in the gap. So now we're going to see if the sellers are stronger to not only take back most of this day, but to get that daily low, as opposed to the buyers failing to take that daily high into the gap. Make sense? So we're coming out of balance to the downside out of an inside day. You go with it and monitor it for continuation or lack of. Thanks for the likes and subscribing. Good luck trading today, and we'll recap at 4 p.m.